so glad, man. This is, y'all have no idea how excited I am about this, Paul. You know, I feel like a kid robbing a cheese factory. Anyway, welcome to this edition to Black Beat, where we try to tackle some of those complicated issues that are related to Black folks in Oregon and around the world. And hey, look here, today I have a real special treat for us, y'all. You know, there's no need to say that Paul Knauls, you don't even have to introduce him as the mayor, all of that. Everybody tell you he the mayor. I didn't have to he mayor. They said, oh, you think Paul Knauls the mayor? I said, well, you know, that's Paul Knauls. I guess this is Paul Knauls the mayor.
It's the mayor.
It's the mayor. But today I have Paul Knauls and Paul Knauls Jr. today with me here as special guests. And we want to tackle a couple of complicated topics and kind of have a small little conversation here on Memorial Day with Paul Knauls and Paul Jr. And what I like to do is I like to just ask Paul a series of questions. I mean, after all, we're in this phenomenon, this time of our lives where, well, at least for my time, I haven't seen nothing like it. And I'm sure Junior hasn't seen nothing like it. But I like to just somehow or another ask Paul Sr., has he ever seen anything like the epidemic in which we're dealing with today in our time, in our society? Has he ever seen anything any similar to this?
John, just wanted to thank you and of course Sean for getting me here today, but I especially have to praise my granddaughter Olivia. She's the one that set this all up in the house. And if it wasn't her, I wouldn't be here today. She turned 22 a couple of days ago. So let's hear it for Olivia.
Yo, Olivia.
Hey. She turned 22 today, Paul?
Yeah, she turned 22. We didn't get to do a birthday, so we just kind of did a drive-by, you know, had a sign on my car and drive by people's houses and let them wave at it. But getting back to your question, though, no, I have never seen anything like this. I hope I never see anything like this again. This has affected the whole world. And that's unbelievable that something like this could take, you know, a lot of people's lives like this throughout the world, not just in one country, not in one city, not in one state. I mean, the whole country's suffering.
Wow, Paul. And Paul, tell me a little bit about what it was like when you first got to Oregon and you decided to endeavor upon your independence and go into business and all of that. What was that like for you when you first came to Oregon and got started? Tell me a little bit about what that was like.
Well, it was a joy for me to, you know, move from Spokane, Washington. I was in the United States Air Force up there, and I got discharged and worked up there for about 12 years. John worked about 4 jobs to get enough money to move to Portland so that I could buy me a nightclub. But the city was not as bad as it is now, but it was bad. I remember one thing in particular, John, across the street from the Cotton Club, which we owned, you'd see empty houses across the street. And of course, you got the word from Mr. Plummer, which was a real estate man. Paul, you should buy those houses over there, and then people live right across the street from your club. And they would be your clients, you know. So went to the bank and tried to, you know, arrange to buy some of those houses, but no one's gonna loan money to a black man, you know. They still had redlining in those areas. You couldn't get insurance, you couldn't get money from the bank. So what do? You could buy it from the person that owned the house if you know, knew them, but it wasn't that much going on in the financial institutions with black people. They made sure that you couldn't buy, and I guess their philosophy was if you buy, then you own the land and you can do what you want to it. Otherwise, you just had to rent in those days.
Wow. So, what made you decide to go into business versus go to work for somebody, Bob? What was that all about?
John, I'm from a little town in Huntington, Arkansas, about 650 people. I went to a little small high school, a little small grade school that had 4 rooms. When you got to the 5th grade, you had to move to another city. So my parents moved to Fort Smith, Arkansas, And that's where I started, you know, making my move. I was 13 years old. I had my first shoe shine job on the corner. The GIs, it was about 1944, 45. The GIs was there. You could shine their shoes on the corner. The shine was 10 cents, no, 15 cents, but I got a dime off of every shine. So I go home with $1, you know, and dime.
So you was on the hustle, you know.
Hey, I got more than the owner. The owner got the nickel and I got the dime. See? So I'm sure nowadays, John, it would be like the owner gets the dime and you get the nickel. You know, that's the way it is. But it was, I was working at Horse Gravel Country Club. I was about 15 and it was a country club. So that's where the rich, you know, whites came. So I asked one gentleman one day, how did you got a lot of money, Mr. Johnson, don't you? And he says, no, Paul, I don't have a lot of money, but I got a lot of nice business and I can make money by, you know, running my business. He said, but I said, what would I have to do? He said, well, you got to work real hard. He said, but the main thing you do is you get into a business and you got to work hard every day, he said, but you got to have people working for you. And that way you can make more money because they'll make you money, you're making money, and they're making money. And that'll put you on a road to success. So it worked out well. I did. I worked in Spokane. I was in the United States Air Force and I was working at the Air Force Base in the day. At night, I went to the Davenport Hotel and worked. I taught skiing on the weekends, and then I also cleaned up the place where I worked. So I was working 4 jobs. Wow. Now I lost my wife because of that, because my wife Gloria, Paul's mother. I lost my wife, you know, in those years because she wanted to, you know, go out and do things, but I'm working all the time. And so I finally, you know, got enough money that I thought, which it wasn't enough, but I'd saved some money, and I came down to Portland and started looking to buy me a nightclub.
Wow. What made you choose the nightclub thought, you know, versus any other business at that time? Well, what was that all about? What made you decide to go nightclub instead of go day club? You know?
Well, I'd been in the hospitality business there, you know, at the Davenport Hotel for 12 years, and wow. I got to meet people and greet people, and you got to dress nice, and a lot of nice people come in. So I just kind of thought that might be the thing that I would like to do, and I did.
Right on, Paul. Right on. So, and I'm going along this track, Paul. You know, just to talk to you about that, because what I'd like to do is some of the younger listeners listen to you. I certainly like them to make sure that they understand that whole thought about why owning your own business versus working for somebody else, kinds of things. You know what that's been like for you over the years of being a part of, you know, the Northeast and having a business over there and all of that kind of stuff. What would you say to young people, Paul, today, you know, coming through is, you know, about working for themselves and being in business and all that kind of stuff?
Well, John, I do quite a few speeches at high schools and even middle schools, but getting them started off on the right foot is making sure that they understand that every dollar that you take in when you're in business, you only get about a dime off of it, you know. The rest of it goes to expenses for everything, you know. And so don't go buy a new car because you're in business to show off that you're looking good. You know, one of my phrases is, if you drive a Land Rover and you have a landlord, you're on the road to success. And that's about what mostly young people do. As soon as they get a little money, they go buy a brand new car. They drive it off the lot and it's worth half of what they paid for it, you know. And it's been a nice run. And right now I tell all the people about the trades. You know, the trades, the carpenter, electrician, plumbing, pipe fitting, all of those, they are actively seeking young African-American males because the nepotism isn't going on that went on for years. Like the white kids, their father was a carpenter, their grandfather was a carpenter, they were all in the trades and they were in the union, which means you're getting top pay. Well, back in the day, I let them know that you had to be in the union before you could get a job. And then you go to the union, and then the union tell you got to have a job. Then you go find a job, and they tell you got to be in the union. So you have to be in the union, get the job, and so it kept everyone out. But right now, John, and I tell all the kids, they're actively looking for African Americans. They don't care if you've been to jail. They don't care if you just got out of prison. They want you to be able to be a tradesman, carpenter, electrician, or whatever. I know that because my grandson, Stephen, I sent him away to Job Corps right after he got out of high school, and he didn't make it. I sent him back again, he didn't make it. But 2 weeks ago, he called me and said, guess what, Granddad? Carpenters Union, and I'm doing good. I said, well, I tell you what, Stephen, never be late for work. Be there 15, 20 minutes early. And then before you leave the job, always go up to your boss and say, is there anything else I can do before you leave? Well, the boss is not going to want you to, he's not going to let you do anything else because you're union and you're getting paid. That's overtime. But the fact that you ask him, is there anything else I can do before I leave? All at once, and about 3 weeks later, he's only been in the job about a month. He calls and, guess what, Granddad? They put me over some guys. I'm in charge of these guys. And oh my God, he was so happy because he's in charge, And it's probably like, go over and move those 2x4s. So he got 3 guys moving the 2x4s, and he's standing there telling them what to do. So Stephen is doing well, very well.
I love it. That's a great story, Chief.
Yeah. Hey, so Junior, man, what was it like growing up, having a father like Paul, moving and shaking and all that kind of stuff? How was that for you as a young guy, man, growing up?
Being my father's son.
Yes.
Yes.
You got to tell him right in front of me.
It is. It's been a blessing. The knowledge that he has shared and the inspiration that he has given has been absolutely amazing. When your father is the mayor, there's a little obscurity involved in that, because especially if you worked with the family for so many years. So everywhere you go, everyone knows you, and they give you the praise and accolades for the work that you've done. It's been amazing to see what my father has accomplished. Him and his wife, Geneva, they worked hard. They just employed so many incredible people and added a lot to the community. People come through the door, baseball teams, softball teams, the choir, they were involved in all of that. And Dad always had a lesson for everyone. He's always been a teacher. He's always taught. I used to I remember one time we were down at the nightclub, and we were at Geneva's at the beauty salon, and Dad will guide you through everything. He will make sure it's done right. There is no question about it. I needed to put in a light bulb, and Dad was standing at the bottom of the ladder like a football coach. He makes sure you get it right. So I'm blessed to have him. So many things could have went the other way for me without my father. He was a big inspiration and had a powerful impact on my life. He gave me the spirit of entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I was about to say, I know you got the bug too.
Yeah, I have the bug. I tried everything. I delivered groceries to people in assisted living for a while. I had a service, and then I had a janitorial service, and before you knew it, it was his drive. Next thing you know, we're importing extra virgin olive oil from Spain. And all of that, I can't
Yeah, I remember a couple bottles of that stuff.
I can't give anyone else credit for that but my father. I really can't. He's the one that made it happen. All you got to do is watch and follow him, his lead, and he's going to make sure that there's some success there.
Yeah, and I think that's what I love about Paul. Paul, but one would only wonder. I mean, because for me, driving past Geneva's, heading, no matter where I'm at, coming up on MLK, as long as I knew it, I don't care if my head was on crooked, my eyes was on the side of my head or whatever. As long as I hit Geneva's, I was on sovereign land. I know I was on the reservation. You hear what I'm saying? And so, but, Paula, I've often wondered, and I think I get a clue of it, after being around for this many years and stuff, but I often wonder, man, what did you attribute the credibility to? I mean, your business was always respected. You were always respected. You were, there was never that image. I never seen, out of all the years of knowing Geneva, knowing y'all, I've never seen, and that might be something in the back room or whatever, but how did you maintain an image of credibility, Paul? And how does a person go about accomplishing something similar to have that integrity, have whatever that image looks like, that thing that we respect and we honor? How'd you arrive to that place, Paul? And tell me a little bit about that in substance. How could I inherit something like that? What can you impart to me about that kind of stuff?
John, I'm just going to add just a couple of small things to Paul Jr.'s story about the ladder. Well, you're standing there in case they fall, you can break their fall. And now, if you don't break the fall, you're going to go to the hospital, and all because you let your kid climb a ladder. And then the other thing, John, was keeping him out of trouble, because when he was younger, he liked, not younger, but old enough to go to the after-hour joints, and the people Paul Jr. walk in, they say, "Ain't you Paul Knauls' son?" You see, and they say, "Get out of here, Paul." Your daddy don't want you up in here, so Paul would have to go home. So it probably kept him out of trouble. Maybe they were going to raid the joint that night. So it kept him out of trouble.
It honestly did, Chief. I found a good crew. You put me with a good crew, and I was safe. I know Cliff Williams and Troop and those guys were always watching my back. And so John Dad had my back. What can I say? He didn't want his son to fall off a ladder, break his neck, and then he couldn't come to work the next day.
That's for sure.
Couldn't come to work quite the next day. Probably was.
That's right. You got to make sure.
Was to make it to work, But because I was about to say, Junior, if you was the follow, Paul, who was going to the hospital?
Okay.
Still thinking you is, but how did that? Where'd you get that ethic? How did you build that image or that reputation of integritas and all those kinds of things, man, that is honored and respected, and those who are honored and respected? How'd you get there? What made that a value to you?
John, especially my mom, Gladys Knauls, man, 6 sisters. When you grow with 6 sisters, you learn a lot. I tell you, I'm the only son between 6 sisters. So my one sister, which is Lily, gospel singer, nationally known, I drive up in front of the house, and I get out in the car, and I walk up and get on the porch, and all at once she'd honk the horn, Paul, come and open my door. So I would have to turn around, go back out in the street, open the door, come up, and then she'd get there. I go in the house, and then she'd stand there until she'd knock on the door. Paul, you're supposed to open the door for me. And so I go back out, open the door, let her in. So that's learning right there, instead of looking at your sister and, letting her know where to go and what to do when you get there, you just go ahead and be that person, And so, John, I think the big thing is the smile. I know people talk to me all day, all week. I hear all the time, "I just love your smile. I just love your smile." So if someone loves your smile, why not smile at them? Got in a lot of trouble with my wife, Geneva, though, because she'd be bawling me out. I would be smiling. That was a no. But I remember being in the United States Air Force, and we'd be in platoon position, and the drill sergeant started calling you all kind of low names and everything. You're lower than a snake. You couldn't even crawl under his body. And I'd start smiling, and he'd come up, Knauls, what are you smiling about? I said, I don't know. No, you don't know, sir. And then, of course, he was shocked. The next time he got on me, I was still smiling, So that's one of my things, is the smile. I love the smile.
And then, Paul,
You
the virus hits, Paul, right? A couple months back. Take me through when it hit you, when it hit here. What were you thinking, Paul, when it came? When the virus, when all this conversation back in January and in February, when it started coming into conversation in March, were you paying attention to what was going on at that point in time, and what were your thoughts about all of that?
Is that Paul Jr. or me?
That's for you, Paul Sr. What were you thinking?
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, it started out slow. It kept getting worse. You'd be watching TV, you read the paper, you see all these things, And then I'm thinking, at first, this is what I thought. I'm 89, so hey, I've been to the mountaintop, and I don't have to worry about it. I kept walking, and finally my daughter Robin said, "Are you wearing a mask?" And no, I'm 89 years old. I don't have to worry about it. If I go, I go. But then where I walked, it was in a grocery store and the Lloyd Center also, and people are everywhere. And then all at once I realized, I better give me one of these masks, and start wearing it. John, I've been wearing the mask ever since. I took it off in this interview.
We had to reel him in, John.
Wow.
I told Dad one day, and I said, Dad, what you doing? He said, oh, I'm at work. And I said, Dad. And Dad said, I knew exactly what he was gonna say. I'm like, Dad's gonna say, Paul, I'm 89 years old, and I've lived a long life, and I'll be darned if I said it, John. That's the first thing came out of his mouth, and I could not stop laughing. I laughed so hard. He's like, "What you laughing at?" I said, "Because I knew exactly what you were gonna say."
Right on.
John, when it goes to my father's credibility and his ethics, I just like to interject there. Being his son, people talk to me about my father all the time. The one thing in common that people always say about my dad is he is a man of his word. He has never told me anything that he was going to do that he did not do, and he's always there for people in need. I think that my father visits the hospitals more than a lot of people that I know. Anyone sick in the shop, any of his friends, anyone that he knows, acquaintances, he's going to show up at the hospital to visit them. This is just what he does. So his loyalty to the community validates his presence and his honesty, and his ethics. That's just part of the deal. He opens up to people, and if you make eye contact with my father, no matter where you are, I can remember this from the time I was a kid, and I think that I actually picked up some of that. You make eye contact with my father, he's going to speak. You're going to end up having a conversation with him, or he's going to say something, and the smile is going to make you respond. It's like he said, if you don't respond to a smile, then, what's a smile?
Yeah. And
so, yeah.
I second that with you, Paul Jr. It's hard to talk about a tree that falls in the forest if you've never seen one. But, it's also hard to talk about a good man if you've never seen one. And for me, sometimes it's important for us to have something that we could attain or reach toward. And for me, Paul has been that in my community, and this interview it's a good one, because I'm taking the long way home, y'all. You know what I'm saying? You know, but it is
Right.
an emotional one for me because it's real. You know, Paul Sr. And I think some of the things that we've experienced, just not, you know, even getting to the hard-hitting one, just the one of watching Black men and how we have to function and develop in our society and walk and grow and come along things. And a lot of times we don't have that benchmark or that thing to reach toward or that person to go see or that person to mirror our image or work
Yes.
in that direction. And so, and Paul has always been that. And so, of course, you know, getting to that hard one, when I heard that the shop, after all those many years, was getting ready, that the decision for y'all to do something a little different under this condition, under this environment, it was a little difficult. So, you know, Paul Jr., you and I talked a little bit on the phone. And of
Yes.
course, you and I are two feeling kind of guys that tend to wear our feelings on us. You know?
Right.
You know, and I think, but it's even more than that. It's more because it almost becomes a more selfish reality. Is because, and I did this to my own father also when he was on his deathbed. You know, that selfishness, that dad, why do you want to check out now when I need you so much now, but not giving a damn about how he really seen life, what he wanted for himself, and the direction he wanted to go in. So thank you. And so obviously right about now is the thought was, okay, the word came out, Geneva's closing, then okay, everybody's heart gets on the floor, you know, then you pick it up, you know, and then you go, now what? And then so where do we go? And so we reach out and we go, so but tell us about how y'all arose to that decision to close the store, you know, make some, you know, just make some changes and transition. Tell us about how you guys arose to that place.
The decision to close?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Once, it was probably a month before after they made the decision, when they start drifting out what the standard would be for a beauty and barbershop, you know. Whenever you, first of all, the stylist has to have a mask. The client has to have a mask. When they come in the door, you have to record their name, address, and phone number, probably email address also. Started thinking, what if they don't want to give you their name, address, and email address, so you turn them away? The stylist has an appointment, which she's going to make some money, so she can't do the hair because they won't give up the information. Well, probably not going to happen. The stylist is probably going to do the job anyway. But then something happens down the road and you don't have a track of that person being in your salon. Okay, how does the state handle that? That's one thing. They have to have a disposable cape on, the client and you, and the stylist. It has to be thrown away after each client. Everything has to be disinfected. After every person comes in the salon, only one person in the salon per stylist, which is going to be very hard because, you know, most good stylists, they got 3-4 people going at the same time. That's how they make their money, is by, you know, booking 1, 2, 3, and work them through, which I never did approve, but you can't stop them from making money if that's how they're gonna make it. I think that was Oprah that said that. She'd go to the beauty salon and
all day.
she'd come in and wait because they're definitely gonna be late. And that's just her heritage, is being late. But then they come in with their lunch and the customer's sitting there and then they go eat. Then they come out and get started. And so they make their money by doing 1, 2, 3, 4 people at the same time. Well, that's gonna cut down on their income. They won't be able to pay. And then the other thing, John, is no customers in the shop except your client, which all the information that you get all day long while you're in the shop, because it's just, you know, chatter, chatter, chatter about things that some people don't even know what they're talking about. Like the one young lady came in and she declared to me that she was proud that she was Black. And I says, why is that? She says, because Black people can't get the virus. I pulled out my telephone. I had a picture. I took a picture of the guys from Denver Nuggets, Utah, I guess, Denver and Utah, one of them. Anyway, I took a picture of them when they first appeared in the paper to show her, yes, Black people, Debbie, can get the virus. She was so shocked because she had heard it on TV or someplace that Black people couldn't get it, you know. And then I got to thinking, suppose that someone comes in and we don't do what we're supposed to do, and then they get the virus, will there be a lawsuit? The state may declare, and I think they're gonna have to do this, is declare that you cannot sue a business or an organization if you have the virus, if you feel like you caught it from someone at their establishment or at their business. So it's just wow, it's too much. It's too much. It's going to change the industry. The young people are not going to be able to pay their booth rent that you would have to charge. So it's just the decision. It's like I say, I'm 89. Everything's good. So we'll just do something different. That was basically my decision to, you know, get out of the business.
Talk to me, Junior. Talk to me.
Yeah, we had discussed it for, like Dad said, probably a month and a half as to how to move forward with this. And as he said, our business model just did not support the new rules and regulations. We have a salon that at some times might have 9 people inside working there. You get over 1,000 people coming through the doors a month easily with just 5 barbers. That's going to happen. And how can you administrate that, monitor that, follow that, and keep people safe at the same time? Now, there may be some folks in the younger generation, the single salon person, some people that, a lot of the contractors may be able to figure out a way to piddle along. But I would have to agree with Dad at the end. This is going to cut your income by at least 50%.
Wow.
You know, minimum. When you cut down the amount of traffic that you have, you got to cut it in half. It's going to be tough to make. So that's about how it all came about. You know, we were just fortunate enough that we had some vision into some of the things that might happen at Geneva's in the future. So that's what is saving us. You know, the community mourned. We talked about this, John. Just what you were saying, a community will start to feel like, why are you leaving us now? I was talking to Norman Sylvester the other day, and he had mentioned that there comes a point when you're out there every day in the public and doing what you do and interact with the public takes ownership of you. You know, these mine, they're mine, they are ours. So that became tough. The grief part was tough, and the mourning was tough, and with grief comes anger sometimes.
Yeah.
But
that's if you camp out, you know, in Angerville. You know,
yeah.
The train will pass through there. You can get off the train if you want to. You know?
Right.
You have to keep on moving a little bit, you know, on that.
Right.
But no, bro, I'm still feeling it right now. But you know, it was kind of interesting that I happened to be looking at TV every once in a while because I'm outdoors, and so you know, you see them cats that go in and settle Alaska, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of these little stories where they go up to Alaska, the guy did his homesteading out there. As a young man, right? Went out there.
Oh yeah.
And did all the makers and stayed out there for years. Found him a little wife, brought her back to the homestead. They built a homestead. But what's interesting was he lost an eye, and and she got older. They, of course they couldn't do the work at the homestead, but they did this movie on them having to give up the homestead and turn it over to somebody else, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking about y'all for a second there because, they made all this hype about the part about somebody else taking it over. But every once in a while, I look over what the guy who did the original homestead, he had a patch over his eye, all that, they put it there, all that work and everything. But I was actually wondering, well, man, how does he really feel right now at this point in time? Because I know how I felt for him. I felt very emotional for him. I just felt lost for some odd reason. What did he, hey, Paul.
Yeah.
How you feeling, bro? What is this? Walk me through this emotion, this sense of one phase of life coming to a closure and the next one opening up, so and so on, and having to make this decision where you're at right now. And believe you me, I agree with your son about you becoming part of the public. And because for me, you represent I'm okay for some odd reason. When I see you, I'm okay. I'm in a place where I'm okay. I see you in the neighborhood. I see you around. Even white people, man, I even hear white people say to me from time to time, I saw Paul Knauls in the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Just as a conversation to me, just an intro level you seen Paul? I saw, Pops, you saw him around there. How you doing? But how you doing, Paul? I mean, talk to us a little bit about this transition, this next step, and and that smile and all that in relationship to that. What's behind that? How you feeling, bro? Talk to me.
John, I feel great. John, it was 1995 when we added to the building that exists now. And that's when we switched to 7 days a week. That was 25 years ago. John, I work every day. We do not close Geneva's. I work every day. The only time that I'm off, I got the knee replaced. I was off in 2006. And then, of course, you get the flu, you got to stay home. But other than that, I go to work. I can't wait to get to work to meet the people that's going to come in and, help things along, pay the water bill, pay the light bill and everything. But I haven't had one bit of sorrow at all over the closing. And like I told you on your text, John, I've been to the mountaintop. And I think if you read the text, it said, and guess who I met? I met Sean, and I met John Washington, and I met Sean. So, and that little phrase there, that gets everybody to smiling. Oh, it's okay. God, you haven't been to the mountaintop. I haven't been to the mountaintop, but it lets them know that I'm okay with this decision, Yeah.
Well, Paul, all I can do is tell you thank you for all the good years, man, the smiles and the place of the oasis. Thank you for all of that, Paul. Man, I needed to do it this way, man, because I wanted to pay tribute not only to my son, but your son, is to know that one point they can reach back somewhere and they can listen to this communication about your thoughts and about what you were going through in this transition, and still to this day draw some hope and strength from you. And no matter what time it is, if you're here or if you're not here, because Paul, your presence is gonna almost be like you're gonna be walking around and even if you ain't over there, something we still gonna be looking for you. That's Paul out there sweeping the street out there. Yeah, that's all right. Everybody got his back. Yeah, everybody got his back. Paul, okay. We okay, right?
John, my greatest fear is they come in with their babies, even twins, and they'll put them in my arm and, want to take a picture with a 3-month-old, 4-month-old, And my greatest fear is I'm going to drop one of those babies. The lady had twins and she brought them in and I'm sitting there with a set of twins in my hand. Oh God, I hope I don't drop one of these babies,
So that's what I told someone the other day. They were like, so what's your father gonna do since the shop is not there? I said, look, man, my father is the mayor, okay?
He can do whatever he wants.
He's got engagements to make, babies to kiss, and he got a lot on his plate. play, John. He's the mayor, man. It doesn't stop.
Hey, you know, Junior, this is what I really do glean from this whole thing. And after talking to you the other day, you know, Paul, coming into this, you were conscientious and concerned and considerate about the community that you chose to live in, the contribution you made you know, the whole time here. But even on your exit going out, Paul, it was y'all chose to consider the community more so than yourselves. You know, I mean, I'm sure y'all can try to figure out how a way to make it work, but I think after talking to y'all a little bit, what I clearly heard was, you know, there's no way that you could possibly deal with Black folks in an environment that we have become so familiar with, so in need of, and from time to time, that you're gonna stop any kind of contact with one another to the degree in which we can separate ourselves enough to separate ourselves from this virus. So I really want to tell you, thank you, Paul, for being considerate of our community, even on the way out, bruh. It's man, it's just in the nature. I guess, you know, I asked you this question earlier, how do you keep integrity and all that? But my belief is it's neither you got it or you don't, you know, and you got it, you know, and that's something that we just gonna have to figure out how to get a little bit of something up, you know, and watch you and watch all those others who come along who maintain that solid pillar nature so that our community can step on us to move forward, to grow. And we make that contribution. So Paul, thank you again for all that you have given to us in that community. And hey man, I ain't saying this like as if you gonna disappear, because I know you up to something. I don't know what it is. but I know you up to something, bro. You know, because I done seen you in some places where you would never believe Paul gonna be. You know, so get the lay of the land. So I know it's something. You got something you ain't telling nobody, but I'm gonna be around there because I know you'll whisper something out here. You know?
You'll be around, John.
Yeah.
You'll be around.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But man, I got so much love for the both of y'all, man. I just wanted to, like I said, reach out and just be a supportive part to this transition for y'all. And I'm sure that whatever the choices that y'all make with the building, the properties, and the shops and all of that, y'all keep us all informed. You know, Paul. But y'all, Junior, man, and look, man, it's a legacy. I know that you gonna inherit, but you know, bruh, I've watched you over the years too, man, and you know what? You definitely had a good model. You definitely took on some traits about your father that it extends out through you also, Paul. And so, hey man, guys, with all the respect due in the world, man, I love y'all and I love what y'all have done. And I do appreciate all that y'all have brought to us. You know?
Just one more thing, John. John.
Yes.
Just one more thing. When the title that they gave me, you know, Roy J. and Baruti and Mike Price, they all called me different. I'm the mayor of Albina, the mayor of Northeast Portland. Baruti tell people that I was the mayor of Portland, but the correct title is that they gave me the mayor of Northeast Portland. So when they introduce me and I tell people that I guess I'm your mayor because you didn't vote me in, so you can't vote me out.
That's it.
Hey,
John, you didn't ask me what I'm gonna do now.
No, I heard you, but I'm about to. I'm sorry, you know, because you know, Fawn somewhere in my ear.
Okay.
That was the next question she was gonna say. What's next on the horizon, Paul? What you getting ready to do next? What's the future looking like?
John, I'm going to buy me a rocking chair, and John, I'm gonna sit there about 6 months, then I'm gonna start rocking. So that's it.
Hey, I hear you, Chief. I hear you, Chief.
When you go out, because we might be able to have to put you a waterproof rocking chair, because I'm gonna get a boat, but we're gonna be fishing on the river.
That's right. Hey, John. You know, you spoke to the legacy, and a lot of times we view legacy in different ways. But if you look at my parents and you think that their legacy is gone because the beauty salon is gone, then I submit that maybe you could look at it as a different perspective, Look at all of the young entrepreneurs that were birthed by these people, that were trained by these folks. They were trained. Their legacy lives on through these new, young, innovative, fierce young entrepreneurs. They are picking up the pieces. And my parents' legacy will live on through them. There is no question. Yeah. When you talk to them, a lot of them will say that, you know, they picked it up at Geneva's. Yeah. They sat down and had a talk with Dad, you know. The young ladies, they talk them out. They sit down and give advice, you know. She was the Secretary of State of the family, and she held all the pieces together. And she did the same with clients that come in to this day. There's people walking around in Portland that say they've never had the soft touch from a barber that she gave them. So there's your legacy. It'll go on, and it'll go on for generations.
Yeah, yeah. But I think it's the whole, you know, Paul Jr. I hear that, and I also think it's even more. I think that what Paul Sr. has been able to accomplish is one of those rare times when you're able to see how to bring that about. You know,
right.
You know what it took to do that. You know, a man that showed up to his shop every day, swept his floor. He displayed all of the character that is required for the you know, for that individual. If you were observing anything, you could observe that to have a business that can reach the level of notoriety and recognition around the country. I'm not talking about I knew Paul from when I came here. I knew Paul from other ballers that came here and got haircuts from y'all and was telling me about Geneva's and about where, because when you come to Oregon, right. I'm black, where black people at? And the first thing they're gonna say is where Paul at. You hear what I say? So and that's right. One of the reasons why I put the publication here too, was that when black people come here, there needs to be a beacon of hope for them also. And Paul, you have represented that for us, for me, for a lot of people to come. And I, you know, man, and I appreciate you because just tell me what address you're gonna be at on that rocket chair so I can see you. Don't put the wheels on it, dude. You hear? Don't put the wheels on it, because you know, if you put some wheels on it, we gonna know where you gonna probably be driving. Okay, you know.
You're darn right.
Yeah, just talking about my wife Geneva. You know, we were 9 months short of 50 years of marriage, and I only really got in trouble once, and I'll tell you briefly about that. My wife started putting on weight, you know, and as people do as they go. So I got her on about the weight, and she had a phrase for me, and I understood it after she said it. She says, "Paul, you handle the part you can handle, her weight, and I'll get someone else to handle the rest of it." So John, I never mentioned weight. I never mentioned weight again. I didn't want anybody to handle the other part. So.
Oh God! No.
That was my baby, Geneva.
You ever? How creative is that, John?
Hey, look! I ain't taking nothing from Paul today. I tell you, he's entitled to every bit of it, Junior. You know what I'm saying? So, but Paul, you know, one could be so lucky to have known you, to know you, bro, and to know that just to know you and watch you over the years, man, was enough for me to learn to some degree how to become a man in business and in character and all of that stuff, Paul. So I can only reach back on my own experience with you, and that experience with you, as I can humbly say to you, Paul, I've gotten more from knowing you than I have a lot of men in a lifetime. And you know, I've met a lot of men over my lifetime, and I'm so much better for knowing you and have meeting you and your son and your business and just that whole experience you brought to my life and the life of the community in Northeast Portland. So again, I want to tell you, man, with much respect, no matter what you do, I got your back, bro, no matter how it is, you know, and that's just the way it is, because I'm just
right on
that way, you know. Real people need real people. And you know, so with y'all, your family, and all the business, no matter whatever y'all choose to do, y'all come knock on my door, holler at me, I'll be standing right there with y'all. You hear what I say? And that's what.
Hey,
family.
John, thanks for what you do, man. You and Flossin put a light on a lot of subjects that need to be covered. And the community appreciates you. I know I appreciate you. I know my father appreciates you and the family appreciates you. The community is behind you, and that's vice versa. You need us, reach out. We got your back like you got ours.
Yeah. And this is hard. This was hard for me, Paul, but I kept it together. I got home.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Shut up.
You didn't. You didn't.
Yeah, John. Yeah, John.
John and I.
I'm just crying because these ribs ain't done yet.
I'm gonna tell on you now, John. I'm gonna tell on you.
Don't hurt
John
him,
and I was talking on the phone the other day.
Yeah.
We both said we wear our heart on our sleeves.
Yeah,
and John, you know, John, he'll shed a tear.
Hey, man, hey, look, hey,
He said this is gonna be tough.
you know how long we worked with inappropriate emotional responses over like you know, that was probably the truest one. What you say?
That was funny. I love you, big bro.
Out here by myself? What? No, but no, man. It was pop, so I just had to reach out, man, and show y'all all the love, and you know what's mine is yours, and hopefully, Paul, whatever you choose to do, again, my brother, long overdue. You know, you've arrived here, well earned, and that rocking chair, boy. If I can be, you let me know if it get a little bit too far, and if it needs something added to it, give me a holler, boy, because I put it down there. I got some road dogs down there can make a low rider out of a rocking chair, a low rider. You know what I'm saying? So, and we can even put that 300 on the back of that rocket chair. Yeah. We get a rocket chair with 300 on the back.
Oh my God.
Right, y'all. Hey, look, this one's gonna come to an end, y'all. And Paul, again, thank you so much for y'all's time. And again, welcome to Black Beat. Black Beat, this is what it's all about. For any of y'all listeners that are out there, listen, this was a milestone from the beginning to the end. You know, Paul came here, it wasn't no joke. He came here with some serious business in mind, and he came here, he delivered, and he dropping the mic just for a minute, but I'm sure he's gonna pick it up again somewhere. So anyway, y'all, thank you again for coming on the Black Beat. I appreciate y'all, and y'all have a wonderful Memorial Day, you hear me? And I'll catch up with y'all real soon, yeah? Bye.
All right. Bye, Fonz.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Fawn. See you later, Dave.